Hello, my friends. I hope you're having a wonderful day. Today, we're going to talk about top 5 toxins to avoid, and they are everywhere. So, we're going to dive in, figure out why we need to avoid them and how they affect our bodies, and maybe some ways to avoid them and some other options. So, my name is Natasha, and I am an integrative health practitioner. I serve families, moms, and dads and caregivers, the young children, to make sure that you guys are equipped to create the most healthy lifestyle for your kids so that way they can grow up strong and healthy, as well as yourselves to maintain a nice long lifestyle. So I am going to go ahead and dive right in. All right, so our first group of our first toxin to avoid is phthalates. So this is a group of chemicals that is found in plastics, consumer care products, as well as fragrances. So this is everywhere around us. The importance to avoid phthalates is because it can disrupt our endocrine system, which is interfering with our hormone balances and has also been linked to developmental delays. So this is especially important for our moms who are planning to have kids, are currently pregnant, or have little babies in the house when they're going through their rapid development in their first few years of life. So those are some reasons why we want to avoid the phthalates. But where are they found? It's so hard because they're found everywhere. So phthalates can be found in food containers. So those plastic containers that you have in your house, we want to make sure swap those out for glass, or if you can find like stainless steel food containers. I have some for my daughter that are have the little compartments into it, and those are great for snacks, and it gives them a variety to choose from. We use that. You want to avoid plastic water bottles. That's a great thing is you're finding a lot more stainless steel ones, like metal ones around, which is fabulous, and glass ones that have the nice protector coatings on them. We had those for our daughter when she was a baby. We had the Mason bottle, and so those came with a little wrap around, silicone wrap that went on the Mason jar, and dropped it I don't know how many times, and it never broke. So they're doing great ways to be able to make these easily for even families with young children. So that's a great option. It's also found in plastic wrap. I know sometimes it is hard to avoid using plastic wrap. It's just so nice to put it around the container if you need to. One of the things I do is I'll use this parchment paper. It's just TFC, which is unbleached, totally chlorine free. I'll use this over the food directly, and then I'll put the plastic wrap around it. And I do that with tinfoil as well, which is made of aluminum, and we want to overexpose ourselves to aluminum as well as heavy metal. So we will use this to wrap directly around the food, and then we'll use those other items to make the storing easier when you actually have it in the fridge. Another place that phthalates are found is in a lot of our personal care products. So nail polish, deodorants, soaps, shampoos, hair care products. So it's very, very important to be able to read those labels and make sure that that's not in there. And so if that's something that you are struggling with on learning how to read a label, you turn it over, all these words, you're not sure what they mean. I have a free guide, which is at this link here, and I'll link it in the show notes below. But this is a great guide to get you started. It will show you how some of these top offenders that you need to try to avoid. So a lot of times it's just basically kind of memorizing some of the names, but it's also kind of learning just the naming convention that they use, because they do sometimes change the names that they're using, because people, we get wise, we learn, and then we start avoiding that product, and so then they change the name on us, which is not fair, and it's hard to keep up on. And so hopefully this guide will be able to get you started and get you some of that baseline knowledge, so that way as you're navigating your toxin-free lifestyle, you'll be able to understand and start learning how to read those ingredients. All right, so there's starting to be so many different companies that are actually removing these, which is great. But if you need a list for that, I do have one of those as well, so I'll add that in the show notes as well. And that way, that will give you a starting point where you don't have to go and search and be reading the labels either. So we'll already have those products kind of listed out that we've already vetted, and they will be free of all of these things that we're going to be talking about today. Another thing that phthalates is found in is fragrance. And so this one is a FDA loophole. It's considered proprietary. And so companies, if they put the word fragrance on the label, they don't have to disclose what those are made out of. And it can be over 1,000 chemicals that they can throw in there, and they don't have to tell us what is in it. And we never know how harmful it is for our body. So I try to avoid everything that has fragrance in it. And that's the easy word. We all know that word. And so when you're looking at the bottle, if you see that in there, for me, it's a hard no. Unless I have contacted that company or they spell out exactly what is in that word fragrance, because sometimes there's a legal reason why they have to use that specific word. Same when you're looking at food. Sometimes when it says natural flavors, I'll contact the company and be like, all right, what is included in these natural flavors? And then if it's a company that I trust and the list of ingredients that they tell me that it makes up for it, then I'm like, okay, I trust this one, and I'll use that product. But if they come back and they just give me a general phrase, I'm like, you're trying to hide something. I don't feel good about this, and then I choose not to use that product. So those are just the two. Natural flavors and fragrance are just those FDA loopholes that just really irk me. But yes, so but yeah, so there's that. So fragrances, though, they're found in your cleaning sprays, and obviously in perfumes, lotions, and of course in some of our shampoos and conditioners and all of the body washes, all those personal care products, candles as well, and air fresheners. So those are just some things that you can just throw in the garbage, get rid of them, and that will take a whole big chunk of these toxic chemicals out of your system already. So that's one big step that you can do today to start getting a healthier lifestyle and not overloading your body with chemicals that it's hard to get rid of, and affects your body and affects your hormones and all your other body systems, because your entire body runs on hormones. All right, so the second toxin that we're going to be talking about is parabens. So this is also found in personal care products. Parabens are a preservative that mimics estrogen, so that again can disrupt your hormone levels. And so we're definitely looking for products that have labels on them that say paraben free. And make sure you're not just going over the front label of the product, that we're turning it over and actually reading the ingredient label, because sometimes it can be a little misleading what the front marketing is. But double check, make sure there's none of those really long words that end in paraben in it. But these can be found in cosmetic products, so your lotions, your moisturizer, shampoos, all of that stuff, your makeup. It is in some food products, so make sure you're kind of checking some of that as well, especially all the processed box canned different stuff. Make sure it's not in there. And then your personal care products like your toothpaste, deodorant, shaving creams. I always forget about that one. Pharmaceutical products even, and a lot of the topical creams and injections. So some of these things we're not able to avoid, but if we can get this out of all the things that we do have a choice on not using, then that really lowers our overall body burden, and then it allows our body to be able to detox the stuff that we are exposed to. And then there is some, just because we have used it so much, it is in our soil, our water, and our air. And again, it's hard to avoid some of that, especially when you're out and about. If you don't have any control over like the water that they use and you didn't bring any with or something like that, sometimes we are exposed to stuff. We can't avoid everything 100% of the time. So we just try to eliminate the best that we can, and then we support our body so that way it can detox naturally. All right, our third toxin that we're going to be talking about today is BPA. So this is also found in plastics. It is, again, another endocrine disruptor. And so I'm going to take a quick pause. I know I keep using that term a lot. So what does that mean? So it means it interferes with your body's hormone either production, the transmission of the hormone through your body, or your body's ability to receive that hormone signal. And so your body will release hormones to regulate pretty much every thing that's going on in your body. And these endocrine disruptors, either like these estrogen ones that mimic estrogen, will bind to where the natural estrogen in your body is supposed to go to. So then your body, that natural estrogen that your body is producing, cannot connect to that receptor. And then your body is just overflowing with excess estrogen. And then there's a lot of issues and challenges that we're facing as a nation that is caused because of the excess estrogen in our bodies. So that is one of the reasons why we wanted to avoid BPA. So I think the industry has gotten to really understand that, hey, these parents understand that BPA is bad for you. So unfortunately, or I guess, let me back up here for a second. They got rid of the BPA, which is great. Now, the unfortunate part is now they use BPF or BPS. And there are studies that are showing that both of those are even worse than the BPA that we were so excited that we got rid of out of these products. So if something says BPA free, doesn't mean much to me anymore. I need to know that it's BPS and BPF free as well. So these, again, can go in a lot of our food containers. And so it leaches into our food, especially if you microwave it. When you heat it up plastic, that's when it really leaches out. And that's why I don't like using plastic water bottles. If you leave them in the car, you don't know how they were shipped. If they were sitting in the back of a hot box truck for days, all of that plastic in those plastic bottles are leached into that water then. And so that's another reason we want to be able to avoid those. All right. So again, so how does this affect us then? It affects your reproductive system, causes developmental problems and metabolic disorders. And so it also has been, studies have shown it contributes to obesity and diabetes, and those are big rampant problems for us right now too, cardiovascular disease. And then of course, and then the environmental persistence. So it stays in our groundwater and then in the soil itself, and it gets into the food that we grow, it gets into the water that we drink. And so just it's the best that we can do is try to avoid as much as possible, support our bodies so that way they can operate in the way that it was designed to, and that we'll be able to detox all that, the little bit that we do get exposed to. All right, and then our next one is formaldehyde. This is found in cleaning products and hair treatment products as well, which it just blows my mind. Why would we use formaldehyde for embalming? Why were we eating it and putting it into our bodies and stuff? So a lot of the things, our skin is our largest organ. And so everything that we put on our body, it just takes like 30 seconds for it to absorb into our bloodstream through our skin. So that's why it's so important to monitor and watch what we're putting on our bodies. And then in our cleaning products, like we put it all over our surfaces, we put it on our counters, and then we put our food on it, and then we eat it. So it's a continuous cycle. And so that's why if we can buy products that don't have it in there already, then we'll be able to just, avoid it the best that we can and be healthier because of that. So that's why I try to use all these products, clean, toxin-free products in my home, so that way I don't even have to think about it. I don't have to be like, oh wait, did I use the spray on this thing or anything like that? You're not getting exposed to it because it's not in your home. All right, and then the last thing the one I have on my list for today is toluene. So this is found in nail polish, and this affects your nervous system. So I actually have only, I think, done my nails in like twice, maybe in the last like 5 years or so. But there are a few less toxic nail polishes. I'm sorry to break it to you. There is not one that is like 100% toxin free, like of all the bad chemicals. Just it doesn't exist yet. So, but there are some that are a lot better for you options. So like Ella and Mila, and then Zoya, I think is a decent one, and then so those are a couple of ones. But or you just go all natural and don't have them painted and just taken care of, and they look nice too that way. But if you are one who really, really loves nail polish, there are some safer options out there, and I do have that on my product list as well. So make sure to grab that. I'll add that into the show notes below. But those are some of the top 5 toxins that you can start learning how to identify, find them in your environment and where you have them in your home, and the products that you choose to use. And the best thing is to just try to avoid all of those. And if you do that with these 5 top toxins, you're going to be light years ahead of where you are currently. Even if you just do 1 or 2, it's so much better for your system. Your body will be able to start processing and function more optimally in the way that it was designed to do. And you'll just feel better. You'll have more energy, more clarity in your mind, and be able to ensure that your children don't start developing conditions either that are due to their body not being able to process or function correctly anymore because of the overload of trying to just get all of the junk out. It'll be able to perform the way it was designed to. So if you like this video, please hit the like button and subscribe and share it with your friends so that they can learn more about how to live a toxin-free lifestyle, how to avoid these top offenders. And if you are so inclined, please follow me at Families Thriving Naturally. I'm on Facebook and Instagram as well as here. So if you are on those platforms and like to follow along for additional tips and lifestyles modifications to help you live a healthier, toxin-free lifestyle, I would love to have you join our community. All right, and that is all I have for today. So I hope you have a wonderful, blessed day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.